But I remember Molinari, he didn't have a dealer. His putter was open, and I said, "Hey, Francesco, you like pasta? I'm Italian. We're Italian. Let's do something."
G'day guys, welcome to another episode of Fully Equipped. We have a very special one here for you today. We are not in the normal studio, Chris.
Not in the normal studio.
We are somewhere different. We talked about coming to Chicago a few weeks ago when we spoke to Sam via satellite, but we're here at Bettinardi and we've got Sam and Bob Bettinardi here. Guys, welcome to Fully Equipped. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah, thanks guys. This has been an awesome day. Just to start this thing off, this has been a really, really cool peek behind the curtain and kind of learning a little bit about the history of this company. And as a gear enthusiast and just a gear nerd at heart, love everything about it. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, what's your experience been like?
Yeah, going through this entire operation is very impressive. I love the fact that it still feels like and is a family-owned company. And I love that when you walk through, and Sam took us on the tour, you knew everybody. You knew everyone by first name. It was incredible. To see the amount of detail that goes in everything you do, what you guys have built here is very, very, to me, very impressive and something that I think the world needs to really know more about.
Appreciate that. And as I said on the tour, this did not happen overnight. You started it 1988 with the manufacturing building, and then Bettinardi Golf in 98, right?
Yep.
10 years later, being the go-to OEM for a lot of the equipment companies in the 90s. And then I showed you that loft where we build all the putters, and three buildings later, here we are.
3 buildings later. And in addition to the 3 buildings, offsite fittings facility and studio, which we're going to get to visit, and I mean, they allow you guys to see that as well. This is just a really cool experience, to be honest with you. I kind of want to dive into where you got started. I mean, kind of the story behind where it kicked off, when you got involved, and the relationship that you guys have as father and son running this company. And I mean, we talked a lot about the product when the 3 of us were on the last episode. And for this episode, I mean, just the history, the story, that's what I want to share with people. Mm-hmm. So, and first of all, let's just kind of kick it off. Where did it start?
Yeah, so I mean, I graduated with an engineering degree, and my father was in the manufacturing field, came out of school, out of college, and worked for him for about 6 years. And I remember walking up to him and saying, "Hey, I'm getting married next year, and I'm only making $32,000 a year. I need to make more money because we're not going to live out in the streets. We have to live somewhere."
Sure.
He goes, "Well, you need to go start your own business." So that's what I did. I bought one machine and was doing work for, I think it was I'll call it like John Deere or even a Caterpillar, like it was in the agriculture industry, and did that for a number of years. But I started playing golf when I was 22. Unlike my son Sam, he started about 4 or 5. So, but I got into the golf industry, got into golf, loved golf, and I remember walking into a pro shop and was going to go out and buy a pair of spikes. I call them spikes, right? There's no spikes anymore.
Right.
And walked in there and I saw a putter that said it was milled, and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute! I own a milling machine. I think I owned 2 at the time then." And so I started questioning what was milling and so on. And then I got hooked up with a couple different OEM companies and started making samples or prototypes. And then I got some orders to make production. And then at some point from about 1991 to about 1999, I decided to go ahead and do my own product with my own name on there. And that worked out very, very well because literally my first, I'm going to say after about 2 or 3 months, someone told me, "You need to go to tour and show your product off." And my first tour event I go to, we had a gentleman named Jasper Parnevik take that putter at the Greater Greensboro Open and win with it. And I remember flying home on a Wednesday night, and I said, "I think I got a guy that's playing my putter." I was telling my wife, and I says, "It's Jasper Parnevik." She goes, "Who's that?" "Well, okay, whatever." And on Sunday afternoon, he ends up winning. He shoots 27 under par. He has 99 putts for 4 rounds.
Wow,
which is
wild.
26 putts around or 25 putts around. And that was the start of me saying, well, I remember saying to my wife, I go, wow, this is easy. You go to a tour event and you give a guy a putter and he wins with it. I'm going to go out next week and see who else is going to win. It wasn't, I found out it wasn't so easy, but these were the things that happened in the beginning. And there's such a thing as timing, and there's such a thing as being at the right place at the right time. And being a young engineer and being a young golf company, or not a golf company, it was just a manufacturing company, being and doing all that at that time, there was, I think, a lot of people in the manufacturing golf industry was just kind of finding their ways, you know. Yeah. Karsten Solheim, of course, was the king and the grandfather, really, to me, of the golf industry. He really, you know, hey, the Ping I2 irons, and, you know, going back to all the products that he made. But the fact of the matter is when you think of a milled putter, that's how we got started. When you're trying to hit a fairway that's 20 to 40 yards wide, and you're trying to and then when you get to the putting green and the ball's trying to go into a 4 1/4 inch hole, you need precision. And that's what was in my mind the whole time, because I was making parts that had to be precise, not for the golf industry at the time, but just like I said, for the agriculture industry. And the tolerances I had to hold were very, very minutia there. And so I knew I could do that. I knew I could hold those tolerances and be in that field. And so basically, if you had a question, I hope that answered your question. That's how I got started, making parts for other industries, then got into the golf industry. That's how it started.
Bob, that's super cool story. And like you were saying, the timing, being in the right place, right time, taking advantage of the opportunity, that's half of it, right?
Yeah.
Just being able to go, I can solve that problem. I can do that. And now we fast forward and we have Sam. Yeah. So when you came in and started to kind of take the reins a little bit, I was kind of wondering this as we were walking around and looking at everything. So do you guys have a layer of separation to where you have a specific area that you focus on, and then Bob, you have kind of your stuff, or do you work together on the majority of things?
Let me take this. When Sam came aboard, Sam, was it 2012, wasn't it?
Yep.
13.
13.
2013. So from 99 to 2013, that represents 14 years. There was a lot of digging by me, you know what I'm saying, with the shovel.
Sure.
And we were talking, Dan and I were talking about the deal with the internet. And there wasn't, we used to get my name out there, I'd have to go out and buy an ad in Golf World or Golf Week or something like that. And people are like, Bettinardi, is that a car? Like, what is it? Nobody knew what it was. But long story short, when Sam came in 2013, him and I worked together for a long time. I would say at least probably 5 to 6 years of just, you know, hey, Sam, this is what we're doing. This is how we make it. This is our machines, so on and so forth. And then from about 5 or 6 years after he came in, I pretty much, here you go.
Trial by fire.
Yeah.
Trial by fire. So Sam has been running things. He's the president of Bettinardi Golf, which is a great title. He deserves it. He's done a fantastic job. He has grown the business close to double digits every year ever since he was put on into the marketing and sales positions.
That's awesome.
And also the president. So he's done a fantastic job. So proud of him. He's got a wife, he's got 3 kids. So you know what, he's got to go earn it and he's got to go make it. And his kids they're not eating dandelions anymore like they used to be. You know what I'm saying?
Bonus.
No more dandelion. I think too, Chris, that's a great question. I think now, you know, that I'm running the business, Bob's the bank, right? So if I want to go invest in this machinery, or we need more embroidery, we need more people, I'll run the numbers by him. And then where I think he's very valuable right now is design, because he's been doing it, you know, making putters since 1991, and then on our own brand, 27 years. So when it comes time to design models for tour players or new head shapes for a new production series, after I work with our engineering team, 3D print them, I'll bless the models, then I'll bring him to the boss and say, hey, here's what we're thinking for next year. What do you think? And he's always got little ideas to shape a muscle or tweak a bumper here and there, or a top line thickness. to make it perfect. And I think he's really, really good at that because, again, he's earned it and he's got the experience there.
Such a cool dynamic.
And how is it working together? So like my parents always owned their own. They had their own business as well. They worked in blank VHS manufacturing, made it for all the supermarkets and all of that. And one of my favorite things was my dad used to always say, I've got 3 sisters. He'd always be like, all right, you're coming to China with me for a manufacturing trip. Like, you're going to learn this business and blah, blah, blah. How is it working together? Like, is it one of those moments? And you said something very beautiful to your son 2 seconds ago about how he deserved it and you're proud of him and what have you. And I could see a little smirk on your face, and it's always good to hear, right? How is it working for your dad or with your dad, I should say, and then growing that legacy and continuing the Bettinardi name and looking down at your children and going, are they going to follow suit as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard because a lot of family businesses, they always, the naysayers to me always say, hey, the second generation usually messes it up, right? You got to be careful. So to me, that's always been a challenge, and that's why I work my butt off to be able to carry on the family name and the legacy. But there's a lot of ups. It's awesome to be in business with my father, who's, again, my dad. I've known him my whole life,
Right.
and to be able to share a lot of really cool experiences, whether it's going to the Masters together or a major or going on a golf trip with customers. It's kind of a pinch yourself, like, hey, this is our job. We're in the golf world, so that's really cool. Then it's also challenging because he's also my dad, right?
Yep.
So who's the boss, or is he my father? So I think we've learned a lot through the years of working together. When I started, my office was in his office, and he always said that this is where you're going to get your MBA, your Master's of Bob Education, right, in my room, and then I graduated out of his room into my office, and so on and so forth. But learning a lot from him, and he's obviously been successful not only in the golf industry but in business, and just doing doing things the right way, knowing how to get things done. I always liken him to an orchestra conductor, right? He's got the bass over here, he's got the cello, he's got the choir, and he knows how to flow the entire orchestra, and he's very good at that. And I think where I've been able to help him out is more of the branding, the marketing, and the storytelling, versus he's more of a let me get it done. And, and again, he knows how to get it done.
And speaking of the storytelling, so something that when we walked through all the facilities and looking at everything, there's not a lot of companies that can turn around and say they are American, milled, made, manufactured, all of those things. Tell us a little bit more about that, why you decided to keep everything here, why you've decided to invest in this so much and bring jobs back to America and what have you.
I'll tell a quick story on that. I remember probably 23 years ago, he was interested, or another company was interested in acquiring him. And I know he came back home and he said, yeah, they're really interested, but they asked me, what am I going to do with all my employees? And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, we're going to make this overseas. You don't need all those employees anymore. That really stuck with me. I remember you walked through your shop, you looked at everybody's faces, and like, hey, I can't do that. So we, again, stayed independent throughout our history, never been acquired. There's no investors. It's him. He's the bank. But to me, it's awesome to be able to support our community, support our people. I love the fact that I can walk, like you said, walk in the shop and see people's excitement about crafting product, and then them seeing it on TV or seeing it in a celebrity's hands. Hey, we made that with our hands, versus ordering a part and it comes in and you ship it out. I think it's really, talk about the blood, sweat, and tears that go into making product. That's what it is. I mean, I think our putters, it touches 18 to 20 different people's hands before it gets to the end consumer. That's pretty cool.
It is really cool.
It's very cool. I mean, going through the production floor and seeing it from a raw block of material, and then this piece gets done, and this piece gets done, and then there's this step, and then it gets to essentially a semi-finished product. But then it goes through another step where it's QC, and then it goes into finishing and painting, and by the time it's done, I mean, it's a piece of art.
Yes.
And in some of the one-of-one pieces that we were looking at, and some of the specialty custom things, and me as a collector, and again, a gear junkie, I'm looking at that stuff and I'm going, this is beautifully done. And I mean, it definitely makes me want to add it to some of my collections, right? And I know we stepped aside a couple of times. We were just like, look at this. This is awesome.
Really cool.
And
the greatest thing in the world is that it's made here in America.
100%.
Which is really important to Sam and I. you know, I mean, it's not inexpensive, I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it is made the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's people out there that want to buy things that are made the right way. You know, you want to buy something from another country that's, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times cheaper, go ahead and do it. But there's people who don't, and they want the good things, and we want to make those good things for those people.
I mean, from a custom standpoint, we were talking about this a little bit, being able to prototype and turn things quickly, and if it's not quite right, you know, the tweaks and the flexibility that you have to make it right. I mean, there's more flexibility that you guys have there than any other OEM that's out there virtually.
Yeah, and we were sharing it. It just happened today, where the first part of our new BB series for 2026 is coming out. I wasn't quite happy with it, right? In that process of going to our engineering team, how to reshape it, how do we get the right material size in, when can that material size come in, how do we reprogram it to fit, to be able to launch to the market in time, where again, if it was made overseas, that may take 6 months.
Right.
So a couple quick meetings, getting him involved, and then making that happen right on the spot to be able to check after it's machined within minutes, right? Hey, the part's done. Okay, let's look at it. This is what we want. Let's redo it, right? That's awesome to be able to do it. And again, just the quality control, right? You could see his office 15 feet from the manufacturing floor. My office 15 feet plus a set of stairs from the manufacturing floor. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, instead of flying 6,000 miles away, Sam could walk 50 yards. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference with that.
Absolutely.
Huge, just huge. So we got our manufacturing capabilities. And like you said, I have to be, I mean, is there another manufacturer in the golf industry that can claim that? I don't know. Maybe not.
I mean, if
You've
it
been
is,
around,
it's-
you tell me.
Not to this proportions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a much smaller scale, if at all. Yeah. So I mean, you have a couple of boutique-y businesses out there that have similar, not the same capabilities, but in the scale that you guys are at and the flexibility that you still maintain and the ability to, I mean, just on a dime, turn something is really, really impressive. And it's special. It's a cool story. And I love it.
Yeah, speaking of stories, you know, Dan was telling us earlier that we need to ask you about when Matt Kuchar won with you guys the first time. Was it the major?
That was right here, Olympia Fields.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys heard of that golf
Yeah,
course.
absolutely.
Olympia Fields, Jim Furyk had a putter. I won't mention the name, but it was deemed on Wednesday around noon. So they're teeing off on Thursday, US Open, major, and it was deemed illegal by the USGA. And he looks at me and all the trucks, I remember it was like yesterday, the trucks are pulling out, all the manufacturing trucks. And he's like, where am I going to get a putter? And he sees me and he goes, don't you have a shop there? It's only 30 minutes away. I go, yeah. He goes, I need to get a putter. He goes, I can go to the pro shop here. He goes, but nothing looks good to me in there. He goes, let's go to your shop. So him, Jim Furyk, his dad, myself, and our tour rep, we come here, we get here around 6 o'clock at night. And I remember his dad, it was right here, it was upstairs, and his dad fell asleep on the couch at around 10 o'clock at night. But Jim and his dad left at about 1 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, or that would be Thursday morning, I guess. And he tees it up, whatever, 8 hours later. And he ends up winning the tournament, the US Open. His only major he's ever won with our putter, which was
That's
the Baby
wild.
Ben at the time. And it just was like lightning in a bottle, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cool story. And my father was there actually on Sunday, and we're outside, Jim wins, and about an hour later after the press conference took place, maybe 2 hours later, Fluff, Jim Furyk's caddy, right, who caddy for Tiger Woods, of course, but
Yeah.
he looks at us and he goes, what are you waiting for? He goes, we're waiting for Jim to come out and sign our flags. And he goes, you're coming in, come on in. So we had dinner with Jim Furyk, Fluff, and the president and all the board members of Olympia Fields with steak and lobster
So
till
good.
about midnight that night, again, on Sunday night.
Oh, man.
And we stayed with those guys, and they had more champagne going than you could ever imagine. So
What was that process like? So you said he was like, I go to the pro shop and get some, nothing looks good. So what did you brought him back in? Like, here's Here you go,
Yeah,
a la
I
carte
said,
menu, whatever you
well,
want.
he found that Baby Ben style putter, but what was the key was so he could get his loft and his lie and his grip and his length. He wanted all those things incorporated into that putter.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much that we went out and milled another shape. There was enough shapes there for him to pick.
Yeah.
But it was all the specs that he needed in his putter. I mean, we got to bend this, got to
Yeah.
do this, this grip is on. Okay, put this grip on. You know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
all that stuff together. So
That's
that's
such a cool story.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, that was amazing. Really, when you think about it, the guy wins the major, and he gets his putter at midnight basically on Wednesday night.
Yeah. So Bob, and then Sam, I want to ask you the same question. What is your guys' favorite memory of being at the helm of Bettinardi? So obviously you've handed the reins over to your son, but what's been your favorite moment when you were at the helm, and then Sam, what's been your favorite moment since you've been at the helm?
I think the Jim Furyk one was a big one for me. I remember making my first putter in 1999, like I said, for Parnevik. That was a good one. But one of the guys that picked up our putter was a guy named Shigeki Maruyama, who was the god, so to speak, in Japan.
Yeah.
And he ended up winning a skins game tournament against Davis Love, Tiger Woods, and Nick Price in Japan. He won like 14 out of the 18 skins.
Yeah.
Not a bad way to go,
Pretty
right?
mellow.
And he was using our putter, and literally the next day, I was getting like hundreds of phone calls from these Japanese people wanting to interview me. And of course, it's like they'd get the person who could speak English on the phone. And I'm like, well, yeah, he's using our putter. What else do you want to know? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. But our Japanese market just exploded from Shigeki using that putter, which is basically Hideki Matsuyama of that time frame,
It's like
So
that's
pretty
an
cool.
eerily similar name to Hideki.
Yeah, right. The other thing was the 18, which was the British Open. That was probably a good one for you too, Sam.
That's what I was going to say. The 18, the Open with Francesco Molinari, star-studded leaderboard. And in the fall of 2017, I remember going up to Francesco up at Conway Farms in Chicago during the BMW. And, it's very hard for us to get players on the PG Tour to not only use, but to switch out of their product.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the 14 club deals, and we until recently, wedges and irons, but forever is putters.
Right.
So it was hard to get a guy to do a contract with one club. But I remember Molinari, he didn't have a dealer. His putter was open. And I said, hey, Francesco, you like pasta. I'm Italian. We're Italian. Let's do something. And he goes, oh, okay, all right. So he came to the studio, got fit. And then he started pretty good. He came back, switched to a different style. That's why I always say fitting is so important. Went from a face bounce mallet to our BB0, which is, a half toe hang blade with a dot versus a flange line. And then he finished, he won the Quicken Loans, second at the John Deere, wins the Open. And it was on Father's Day, or no, it wasn't Father's Day, but you and me were together on that Sunday watching it.
We were in Kohler, Wisconsin.
We were in Kohler. He held his grip up with our name on TV for about 8 seconds. We were jumping up and down, going nuts, because that was the last two majors. We haven't won the Open and the Masters, so winning the Open was really, really cool. Just fun. We were together with Fitz on the U.S. Open.
Oh, we were.
2022.
Actually, he played with Tiger. Francesco played with Tiger, right?
Yeah, it was Shoffley.
Yeah.
It was a lot of great guys. But yeah, that was cool for me to be involved in getting him that putter in the negotiations to sign with us. And again, Bettinardi Golf, he had all 13 TaylorMade clubs in our putter, and he wins.
That's cool.
That was really, really cool. Now he's back on Team Bettinardi, which is great to see. He's rolling the antidote.
Awesome.
Yeah, that, and then I'd say getting certain celebrities or people into the Bettinardi brand have just been, got fun feathers in our caps, you know.
Have you had any 911 type calls like the Furyk situation?
I had a 911 call being at the Masters one year. A guy's putter didn't work out. Got to go out of the parking lot because there's no phones. Hurry up and AM overnight a putter down here.
Right.
Nothing that won a major at midnight. But yeah, we've all had that because again, when you're talking golf clubs, people are, especially the world's best players, are very, very, very particular. So
Putting it mildly.
Putting it mildly. So if the grip or during a flight, the putter got bent, right? They stepped on it. I've heard that story. Hey, my girlfriend dropped it or my kid. there's a lot of things that can happen to equipment that throws it off by a very nuanced amount. They have to call us to make that fix or make that change very quickly. So I remember waking up in Korea, a certain player, I woke up to 6 missed phone calls at 5:30 in the morning, like 5:01, 5:03, 5:10. I'm like, what, did something happen?
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? You know, where's my putter at? So we're talking putters here. So yeah, it's fun to be involved in that, to me, most important club in everybody's bag, the putter.
It is.
What I love about the putter too is that it's everybody's most emotional club.
Yes.
Driver and putter, but when you think of putters, people use the same putter for 30, 40 years, or
Yeah.
they hang on to that one. A lot of the great putters in the history of golf have always used the same putter. So to me, to be involved in that intimate club, it's a very emotional club. A lot of people where I get a lot of joy is will come up to me, hey, I bought your putter and I improved my game by 3 shots, or hey, I made this, and I feel like we're doing something special there to be able to help people out, not only with the emotional side of it, but again, help their game.
I'm still searching for the one.
Yeah,
we-
Hopefully tomorrow.
hopefully tomorrow.
Hopefully
I
tomorrow.
told Sammy you should maybe have an IV with you a couple times when you meet these people. Like let me put you on some medicine. or
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
Wade is
Somebody's golfers, right?
Wade has been searching. He has some issues, we'll say, on the putting green, and he's looking for a magic wand. It's a tall order. I have faith, but he's been searching. We'll say the
I
least.
have. I just haven't found the one that clicks yet.
Well, in the hive, there's a therapist couch too.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
after
there
you're
is.
fitting,
Love
you can
it.
sit down and talks about all
I'm all
your
in.
putting woes.
I'm all in.
How much time you got?
Yeah.
And we
I'm
won't
all
film
in.
you either.
That's fine.
There's the
Well,
next
you can
person
if
we
you want
hire, a
to.
doctor. Yeah, or a psychiatrist.
Yeah, psychiatrist.
Yeah.
That's now. We had kind of talked about last time we spoke the addition of the irons, the addition of the wedges, and going through the back and seeing all of the extra little metalwork pieces and the accessories and the head covers and the embroidery machines and all of
Cigar
those
ashtray.
things. Yeah, I mean just all the cool
Belt
shit.
buckles.
Yeah, I mean just really cool stuff that you sit there and you go, huh, like I had no idea. And I'm sure I'm in the golf industry and been doing it over 20 years, and I had no idea you guys made that extra cool stuff.
Accessories, yeah.
Yeah. Run us down. What is this stuff that you have kind of added to the brand as you've taken over a little
my dad
bit?
he's a serial entrepreneur, I would say, and he's always moving. He's always got new ideas, so he'll flush it out. Hey, what do you think if we make this? Like, nobody's gonna like that. Hey, what about this? Because we have the machinery here, so we want to put work into our machines that we
Yeah.
know golfers will like or the public will like. My favorite thing we've ever machined, back to another, to me, pinch myself moment, is the Monopoly board.
Yeah.
So we did a collaboration with Hasbro and Monopoly, and we machined a true board, and it took 10 hours to machine with all the game pieces, with all the cards.
That's so cool.
All the game pieces and cards too.
Yeah, the
Wow.
custom packaging, and Monopoly said that was the most expensive board in their 90-year history
You
they've
could
ever
make
sold.
an F-15 faster than you could this board, probably. But
So our machinists didn't like us for doing that, but it was an awesome piece
Yeah.
to kind of, again, show off who we are, show off our milling capabilities, and
Yeah.
the fact that it was made here. We made it.
What do they do with it? Do you know?
Well, we sold them to the public, and they have one on display at their headquarters.
So
in
how many?
Connecticut.
How many were made?
Can't tell you.
Okay. More than
That-
one.
More than one. Very
The
good.
amount of time that it took to what did you guys retail that for?
Those were $3,000.
And I feel like that's probably
That's
a
wild.
That's
bargain.
why I was the #1 board.
Yeah, I feel like $3,000 for the amount of time and work that went into that and materials. I mean, that's
Well, 10 hours was
not
just
bad.
the machining time. That was not the anodizing and the finishing and the paint,
QAing, yeah.
Park Place, and all the different boards. Yeah,
it
QA.
was crazy. It was a lot of work. Wow.
So that was cool. But back to your question, just anything that we think is an applicable idea for consumers, and again, golf. And again, there's only so many things you can make, and that are cost-effective machining it from metal. So we're limited, but we want to try to keep upping the quality and upping the, call it Bettinardi mystique of what our capabilities are.
Has there ever been anything that you tried to make and it just didn't work out?
A driver.
Really?
I think he tried milling, or was it
No,
a
it was
golf ball?
No, it was a wedge. Remember?
Wedge, yeah, milling a solid wedge.
Yeah.
He
I
had tried
was-
in 2002, 2010.
I went to the PGA show and I had this wedge I milled from a block of metal. Think about the wedge. And I remember Roger Cleveland comes up to me and he goes, No, there's no way. No, I'm not looking at that. You literally tried to, you milled that wedge. I go, yes, we did. He goes, how much money did you spend on tooling to make that? I go, you don't want to know. So it was just too expensive. You can't sell wedges for about $15,000 a piece. There's no way.
I mean, there's got to be somebody. I don't know who the hell it is, but there might be one guy
Yeah, it might
out
be
there
one person.
that goes.
Yeah.
Maybe
"Yeah, I need
Elon
that."
Musk. Maybe
Elon
that'd be
Musk.
on it.
There
I'm
it
sure
is.
Michael Jordan would, if you think he's going to shave half
Yeah,
a stroke,
Jordan,
he'd probably
there you
buy into
go.
that.
He might do it. Yeah, he's doing pretty well.
Wow. Hey, have you? I mean, we were kind of talking, Wade and I, with the influx since COVID and all of the new players coming in, and the demand for cool, custom, one-off stuff, and the accessories and the ability to customize, and then walking around in the back of this building and going, oh yeah, they got it figured out. Have you seen an influx in the demand for that type of product?
Huge. Yeah, because nobody, to me, for a long time, maybe now people are starting to catch on, nobody's been doing that.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that, I want to say, for 10, 12 years, but every year we just keep upping the level of quality and options and finishes and necks and face millings of what we can do. And that's my job, is to push our staff, our engineers, and our team to be able, how do we make it cooler? How do we just keep pushing better? And one of our mottos for our company here is be the best you can be. You know, why would you want
Love
to
that.
settle for anything less when you can be the best? So if there's a better way to make a product or a way to make what we're manufacture what we currently offer, make it better, I want to try to do that.
And see, one of the things, let me just state this, one of the things that is so important is you're looking at a father-son and you're looking at generation, right? The greatest thing in the world is Sam has two sons.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at Sam's oldest son is 7 and his youngest is 1. So now you're looking at even another generation coming up. And again, it's a family-owned company. And so you could only imagine that through many more years to come, we're going to just keep going and hopefully have something every year for people to enjoy.
7-year-old have a golf club in his hand yet?
He does. He is a player. He's
go.
been playing U.S. Kids Golf, so that's been fun to be on the bag. And he's been coming out watching a lot of tournaments, so really, really fun.
Is he playing milled wedges?
He wanted to get him into milled wedges. I said they're too heavy for the swing weight, but he's got some nice pink clubs, and of course the Bettinardi putter. He's got a cool bag. He's looking good out there. There's no doubt.
Say he's got U.S. Kids clubs, and then he's got a one-of-one Bettinardi.
Right. He does. It says he made a putter for me when I was probably 3 or 4. It said "Sink It, Sam." So Mateo's putter says "Make It, Mateo."
That's awesome.
Yes,
So cool.
And you were quite the stick in your day. You played college golf, right?
I did.
Still are. I mean, I think you're a +3 or a +4. So
I played college golf at Marquette University, and I would say putting to me was always when you say you were trying to find that magic wand. I think as a kid, it was a blessing and a curse to have a dad that made putters, because it was never my fault. It was always the putter's fault. So
it's always Dad's fault.
it was always
Yeah,
his
my
fault.
fault, for
So
sure.
I'd come to the studio, I'd get fit. I had 38 putts. Dad, that putter, it stinks. Why'd you put me in that?
Yeah.
So I think after college, I found the arm lock putting technique, and that's transformed my game. I qualified for the U.S. Mid-Am a couple years ago.
Nice.
Love playing competitively a little bit in the midst of raising a family and running a business. But yeah, game of golf's been great to me.
And then, so what's your favorite Bettinardi design?
From a head perspective?
Yeah. And it doesn't, like, it can be a one-off that you've made, but just like in your opinion.
My personal favorite's the 3-step jam, because that's Colin Morikawa won his first PGA Tour event with that.
Okay.
And then that was in 2017, even 2019. Going back, that was the first head that I feel like I had an impact on of designing. He had designed it. I said, we got to bring this back. It's too cool, but I want to reshape it. Go ahead, do whatever you want. So reshaped it. And then when it came time for Morikawa to use our product, he asked for 3 or 4 models when he was in college. And I said, you know what? I'm going to throw you my favorite head in the box. I think you might like it. Put it in play, won the Pac-12, wins the Barracuda.
Cool.
So that one to me is always a special head.
What about you?
I'm going to tell you the one I'm using now, which is the antidote, the SB2.
Yeah.
Which is the mallet, of course.
Yeah, that's
love
what
it.
he's playing.
Yeah, that's what I've got in my bag. And
Oh, you do?
Yeah, when we got the sample of it, Jack got a sample and sent it to me to try, because I was very curious.
He's our zero talk guy. Anything that's zero torque. I'm a mini driver guy. He's the zero torque guy.
Okay.
Anything zero torque, this guy rolls it.
Yeah. Do you like it? You like the rolls?
Yeah, I took it out with Wade, and I mean, we're on probably the 4th hole, and he goes, "You need to play that putter." And I just kind of looked at him and I'm going, yeah,
That needs to be your gamer. Like, I know we're going to test stuff, but that needs to be your gamer.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I played yesterday and I made a couple birdies, but all I'm saying is that I love the feel. That's the great thing because it's got the stainless face. And of course, it's zero torque, which, hey, anything for a 9 handicap versus this guy, right? I'm going to try to, do as good as I can with that putter, but I love it. That I could switch to any putter I want, but that's the putter I'm
I've
playing.
always been a center shafted guy, so that's
Gotcha.
to him was an easy transition where my arm locks got 2.5 shafts of offset. Going to a shaft and a half of onset is a wild swing where he's used to that.
Oh yeah, that's a huge change.
Huge change.
Optically.
Yes.
What made you go to arm lock? Was it the Kuchar stuff where it was like he was testing them out, so you had to kind of test them out yourself, and you fell in love with it, or?
Well, when I started here in 2013, that was January, and then in May we released the Kuchar line of putters, and my first role here was sales and marketing. So I was always on a headset selling people, hey, you put it on your. How do you use? Nobody knew how to use the arm lock. It was brand new. Unlike zero torque or counterbalance, you pick up the putter, you roll it, and you can, you get it. So I just remember talking to a lot of people, hey, you have to put it on your forearm, you grip it normal, you rock your shoulders, and then, hey, that feels kind of good, and took it out and have used it for 12 years. It's been a game changer.
And the SB2 for me has been really, really good. Question for you, Bob. What age did you kind of figure out, I'm not going to beat him anymore?
I think it was 11 or 12. No, it was. I think it was 12. I think that's when he first started beating me at 12.
I was
He had a hole in one at 12, right?
9. But
Or
when I
9
was
at
12,
Come on,
Sorry.
Dad.
9,
3 years.
you can't remember that? But when I
can't
was
remember
12, I beat him. I saved the scorecard, ruffled feathers in Lamont, Illinois. I think after that, maybe you beat me a couple times.
Ruffled
Far
Feathers
few
was
between.
how he felt about it, or
You
the
didn't
name of
like-
the golf
That was
course?
the name of the course.
Okay.
Pete Dye course. Love the golf course.
Here's a great story. So we're playing with Bo Jackson. He used to play this course, Ruffled Feathers, in Lamont, Illinois, all the time. It was a public track. And I'm out there playing, and I said, hey, do you mind if I get my son to join us? So Sam comes out. And I remember being on about the 17th hole, and I'm listening, and Bo Jackson's talking to his wife. And Sammy, how old are you, 12, 13?
12.
Sammy's 12. And I hear him go, yeah, honey. And he goes, what's wrong? And he goes, yeah, I got some little 12-year-old kid that's beating me right now. I'm not real happy. And if you could hear Bo Jackson, he was serious.
Yeah.
I mean, he was mad. By the way, his thighs are about this big.
Yeah, Bo Jackson's a monster of a human being.
Monster. And he was hitting his three with 320 yards, but Sammy ended up beating him. So I'm like, he doesn't get beat too much in any sport, but in golf he did that day. That was
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, Bo doesn't know golf.
Bo knows, but not
Bo
golf.
knows.
golf.
He knows golf.
So that was
love that
that was a
marketing
good story. But Bo Jackson is he's a man amongst boys for sure.
And then both of you being Chicago people, okay, controversial question.
Uh-oh.
Best deep dish in Chicago, who is it for you guys?
I got to say Nancy's Pizza.
Okay.
So they probably have to be careful how they answer that.
Yeah,
I don't know. We're going to
I
find
like
out.
Nancy's. I know what Sammy's going to say.
Deep dish is Lou Malnati's. We
Okay,
just did a
that's-
fun collaboration with Lou's.
You did?
We did. We
Oh,
made
cool.
pizza slice ball markers. We made a bunch of fun stuff. I had the pleasure of playing golf with Mark Malnati last year.
There you go.
Cool.
Family-owned business.
Yeah.
Great story. It was awesome playing with him. But my personal favorite pizza, sorry, Mark, is Vito Nick's.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
That's your favorite. Thin crust. I'm a big thin crust guy.
I am too.
So
Thin crust,
really,
yeah.
really good.
And guys, is there anything else that you kind of want to tell the people that are watching this, listening to this about Bettinardi? Anything you want them to hear about the brand? Something they might not know.
I want to talk about Studio B and the fact that people can come, make an appointment, and they can go through a fitting experience for the wedges, for the irons, for the putters, and if they decide to go and kick it up a notch, there's an opportunity with the Hive.
Yes.
And just kind of walk us through a little bit where the concept came from and kind of what that experience is like for, because our audience is a bunch of gearheads and gear nerds, and they're my people. And he's trying to win over some of them, but he's just
Nope, they all
Aussie.
hate me. They all talk shit about me in the comments. It's all good.
and I appreciate you for it.
Don't listen to the internet people. I think the Hive, to me, great question. You'll see Studio B Oak Brook tomorrow. It started really here. We were looking for a way to merchandise our premium putters, and we built a room which has a passcode and became the Hive, right? Our honeycomb face milling. There's a lot of puns around the bees and the honeycomb. But because, again, going back to the fact that we make our own product, we have blank putters. What do we do with blank putters besides make thousands for production models? Well, we first started making putters for tour players back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then fast forward to 2009 to 2016, another era of a lot of really cool one-off putters. And I say the last 8-9 years really stepping it up a notch with the models, finishes, faces, necks, alignments, inlays that are all being offered, because I want to make stuff that nobody can have. I want to make those cool pieces for your bag. That's a great story. Again, back to storytelling. You guys saw next door the Buffalo Trace Eagle Rare putters that have the barrel inlay from how they make bourbon inside the putter.
So cool.
You saw the Rawlings inlay from a bat inside a putter, right? We have Zermascus, we have Damtanium and Meteorite. We're putting into putters. Who's doing it? Just to me, it's a fun thing. I want to try to do things that people have not been able to accomplish before in golf. And again, my dad gave a great ode to Carson Solheim, what he brought from the equipment side. I feel like we're doing that on the one-off fancy fun side of nobody's trying some of this stuff. So to me, it's always a challenge to be able to go, what can we dream up that we haven't done before that we think people will really enjoy? And that's the fun part of working here.
A lot of it started too, Sam. I mean, it was the 38 special. You want to talk about that, the 44 Magnum. Those were kind of cool putters where we put the copper plugs in there. Nobody ever did that before. So have you ever seen a 38 special, 44 Magnum?
He made a series of putters for his birthday. So the 38 special, the 44 Magnum, and the 50 caliber. That were beautiful, beautiful, very exotic, limited run pieces. One of 100, one of 400, small runs. But he painstakingly inlaid the year it was, how many copper plugs into the face or into the body of the putter. And then by the time your 50 cal rolled around, you were doing 3/4 versions with copper and then different face inserts. So to have that push, that imaginative push, out of the gate, and then taking what we do today with our art. Again, it's been our DNA, it's been our blood, it's what we do.
Yeah, and it definitely, with this influx of new players coming up, and I mean the younger players, they want to be unique. They want to be different. They don't want the OEM head cover that comes with something. They don't want a production model of whatever the case may be. So I mean, if you have the resources, why not make the bag custom, just like everything else that we do in our lives, really?
Yeah.
And I mean, I kind of refer to it as bag jewelry, right? It's just you can walk the range line or in a staging area, and you're just kind of, I know I do, kind of, peek around in bags, and you go, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's different. Oh, what is that? You see a shape or a finish or a different cover or something that you've never seen. And walking around in the back of this building, my head's on a swivel, and I'm just like, there's so much cool shit. It's like sensory overload. There's so much to look at.
Well, people, and especially golfers, want to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And why have the same bag, stock covers, shafts, grips as everybody else when you can go that extra mile and get rainbow stitch or heather stitch in your head covers, or again, alligator belts or alligator material in your cover, ostrich, because you can. And that's where we come in. The Hive comes into play with all those beautiful one-off pieces that I feel we do better than anybody else in golf.
And I can't imagine outsourcing that. That would be tough. What if Sammy had to drive an hour from here or fly 2 hours from here to tell a vendor or a supplier how to make this really cool putter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make 2 of those and make 3 of those and 4 of those. It would be a nightmare. He'd be pulling his hair out. But for him to be able to walk into his own shop and see and tell people, nah, stop, hold on, whoa, do this, do that, change this. So much easier to do it all in house. And it's our machines, it's our employees. We got the best of both worlds.
Yep, we got to see it today.
You got to see it.
The Minnesota Vikings putter. And I was picking it up and looking at it, and I'm like, this thing is awesome. And he goes, is that purple right? It's not quite right, the right shade, is it? And I'm going, it's close. And he walks right over to the people that are painting it and goes, we need to change that color. And she goes, oh yeah, okay. Like, that's awesome.
I wasn't there for that one.
Yeah.
So cool.
I wasn't there. That's good. I'm glad you changed it.
No, but last thing too, Chris, just for your listeners and Wade, is knowing that Bettinardi is not a brand. It's just a brand, right? There's people behind the brand, Bob, Sam, our whole team, 90 plus employees that are here making the dream happen. So again, when you see that Bettinardi and the putter, it's not just, hey, that's a big company, whatever. It's a family-owned business. And again, we make it in-house. Great people making it. I've been doing it for 27 plus years, and very thankful for him starting it, and hopefully keep it going.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about for me when I walked through was you could tell the love and care everyone had for their department.
Definitely.
Like, no, you didn't, you know, when you can walk through areas and you see people that just are there to get a paycheck.
Yes.
Nobody in this entire building is coming here for a paycheck. They are coming here out of love. They're making everything with love. You can truly tell it.
Thank you.
And it's pretty incredible to see that nowadays.
Yeah.
Right? Nowadays you don't get to see that anymore.
Which breeds the loyalty too.
100%. And I do think brand loyalty is starting to come back very much so. I think it went away for about 10 to 15 years. And I think people are searching for a brand to be loyal to, and a brand that's different, that's up and coming. And I don't think Bettinardi is an up and coming brand, but I think it's a very well hidden brand in regards to it's got so much opportunity to explode even more so.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to hit Bettinardi putters tomorrow. I've never really rolled a Bettinardi putter before. So really excited to try that out tomorrow. And honestly, I'm really excited to become part of the Bettinardi family in that regard. Because that's what people should think about, right? When you get a Bettinardi putter, you're not just getting a Bettinardi brand, you're becoming part of the family, because everybody here, the 90 employees, if you turn to them and said, do you think you're a Bettinardi? They'd probably go, I'm part of the Bettinardi family. And that's so impressive and it's so incredible.
Thank you, Wade.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Appreciate that.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much for having
Thank
us
you.
here and
Yeah,
taking
you're
time
welcome.
out of your
Appreciate
day.
you guys so much coming.
It's incredible.
I know
So,
it's a hike from Scottsdale, and but again, coming to Chicago at the right time of year.
it's well worth it. Yeah, I mean, this is our winter, but yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Yeah.
guys, thank you again, and check you next time.
Thank you very much.